Mark, reflecting on the season just finished as we speak now, third place in the league, cup final win for your under-17s. When you look back on the season, you must be really pleased with the results. We'll start there with the games and the results.
Yeah, we've been proud of how they perform week in, week out. And every year you get a new batch of players, you never quite know what it's going to bring. And we had 11 first years come in, which is a high number. So it takes time. You don't know how they're going to settle in, how they get into that day-to-day training. So when we look at the start of the season, and we had Chelsea first game, which is always a tough game, and we drew 1-1, it gives you a little bit of hope. You think, these boys have got something. And but at this level, it's about maintaining that, doing it week in, week out. But every week they surprise you. They come in, they're just a joy to coach, and you could just see the improvement every day. I've never had a group where there's been no clicks, there's been no trouble. I mean, we do fines for the players, and there's been hardly any this season because it's been a perfect season in terms of on and off the pitch. But results is not everything at this level, but I always say to them, when you're winning, it's more enjoyable. And they could see that. So to finish third in the league above Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham has been fantastic because it shows that we've had that standards all season. But then the icing on the cake was the under-17 Premier League Cup win at Middlesbrough, and I think that's probably a bigger achievement in the fact that in the league it's divided north and south. So the Premier League Cup is everyone in the pot together. Champions League style to start with in groups, so we've had to get through that. And we had a tough group with Palace, West Ham and Millwall. And then we had Southampton, and then Leicester at the Amex, and then to go beat Middlesbrough, who finished third in the Premier League North, was an unbelievable achievement.
Obviously, it's been difficult to play at the Amex for the FA Youth Cup over the last 2 seasons. But what was that like first for the boys? Great experience, I would imagine.
It's amazing, and even for myself with COVID, I haven't been to the stadium probably for 18 months to watch a game. So just to see the change, I couldn't believe it. It's just like with everything at the club, everything's progressing, and it's just an amazing place. And some of the players have been here 2 years now. I hadn't seen it, hadn't been down there. So for them to get for their first occasion to go. We got there a little bit earlier so they could take it in, so they weren't awestruck. But it was great for them. And again, started the game well, scored in the 10th minute or something, which settled the boys down, and then they held on. And it was an important game because we had lost in the Youth Cup to Villa, and they froze on the night. And I think they used what I like about this group is they learnt from that experience, and they took it into that game, and they see it out and got through to the final.
And that day, the final itself, was that one of your best performances of the season? You seem in control from start to finish.
He was in control. They did have some good moments, but we knew they had 2 players one's regular in the first team from Josh Caburn, and we knew he would always pose a danger. So part of the game plan was to nullify him, but you can't switch off for 1 second. He had scored in the Championship against Sheffield Wednesday the week before, and just said to him that you can't switch off. So again, it was mentally tiring for the boys as well as physically, but we got that first goal again, which settled us down, and then you look at as the game went on, we did create other chances. I wouldn't say it's our most fluid performance, but we was in control the whole time. And
then obviously you got the second goal, celebrations at the final whistle. How important is that for the boys to have something like that to sort of hold on to and inspire them?
Yeah. Before the game, one of my last things I said to him in the presentation was, I've been in football 30 years. I was lucky enough to be in teams where we did win things, won the Youth Cup and won other trophies at Wembley. And I just said to them, they're the moments you cherish. So I've also been in cup finals where you lost, and it's a horrible feeling. So one was up at Middlesbrough, which would be a 9-10 hour journey home on the way back. But them special moments don't come very often. Like, players go throughout their career without winning a trophy, so to have it in their first season, it lived with them forever. The fact that they're a close group anyway, and you could just see what it meant to them at the end of the game, and the celebrations at the end is sometimes better than winning the league, because like Fulham won it Saturday against Chelsea, and they weren't there to celebrate on a podium with parents watching. We was lucky enough that the podium was there. They've won the cup, parents are watching in a brilliant stadium, and it just was the icing on the cake for the boys.
And COVID's obviously been difficult. How have you overcome those challenges? How have you dealt with that in terms of the boys' education? They obviously missed a huge amount of football during the first lockdown. How difficult's that been? Because it's probably one of those things people don't think about. They see the football on the telly continuing, but at the lower age groups, it's been tough.
Yeah, it's been tough. I think we was one of the best clubs. I've been on courses where I've told FA tutors, other coaches from other clubs what we've done. They couldn't believe it. We was literally doing 3-4 sessions a week still over FaceTime live. So I've created a video with my son in the garden, send the video to the boys before, and then do it live on FaceTime so I can physically see them. So not that I'd have any problem, because sometimes you can send it to them and you've got to do this session and you can think, I'm going to carry on my computer, watch the telly. But we actually watched them FaceTime live so we could see them, we could give them feedback, say, brilliant. So we kept that going throughout the whole time. But obviously it's not the same as having that day-to-day contact with them. So when they come back, we was training in the afternoons, which is different. But I found it's quite a refreshing idea anyway, because the boys, if people don't know, most teams come in and train at 10 o'clock, 10:30 in the morning. So, and sometimes players are a bit tired. We found injuries have been less. So by training at 2 o'clock every afternoon, the boys are fresher, seems like a happier group. So the little things we may take on to next season where we may mix it up. The hardest thing has been, I think, for the kids that we've got players from Ireland, from Oldham, from Australia, from France, from Sweden, not being able to see their families. So I've said to my staff probably after about a couple of months when they've started getting a bit homesick, not being able to see their families, is being around them all the time, which it's been refreshing. So what we've had to do is sort of become their father figures for them, because they're not seeing them other than FaceTime. So we've made sure that they're as settled so they're happy, and then you see the performances on the pitch. So I think that's been the toughest thing. I'm lucky I could get in the car, go home, see my wife and kids every day. These kids can't, and they're 16, 17. So that's been the toughest thing, feeling for them really, and making sure that they're all right and reassuring the parents that their kids are all right. And I think the biggest way we could reassure the parents is by the players playing, performing well every day, every week, and getting results. So I think the parents have been really happy with how we've handled it.
How excited are you now for things to be gradually getting back towards normal, and anticipating pre-season when the boys will obviously come in and hopefully be in a much more fluid environment?
Yeah, I mean, the players have had that 1 year now of knowing what the training side of it's like. Some of the things I'm looking forward to is hopefully when the bubbles are not set in place, so some boys get a chance to train with the first team. I mean, Billy Reid and the gaffer have been brilliant. Dan Ashworth is always looking at our games. So to give, I'm not going to say names, but certain players chances to go up, or all the players to go up. I mean, I remember a couple of years when Graham first come in, he messaged us the night before and said, we've got Man City coming up, can your boys be Man City tomorrow? So it was a great experience because Bjorn took the boys off into an analysis room, went through a presentation on Man City and how he was going to play, how my boys were going to play. So one of my players was Sterling, one of them was Aguero, so they had to take that role. So in their mindset, then they went out and played the first team for 15 minutes. Just things like that they've missed out on the last 18 months. So that experience for them to go train with the first team, see, one, the level, two, the speed and the tempo of what they play, but three, to be around players that they only see on the TV at the minute, is just fantastic for them.
And obviously the encouragement now, I guess, is you're seeing young players really starting to come through. The investment that was made in this place in 2014, it's now, the bearing fruit, I suppose, is the word. And those players coming through, Ben White, Rob Sanchez, seeing those players, Tariq Lamptey even coming from Chelsea, but those young players getting those opportunities. How important is that for the group?
It's amazing for us because it gives them that hope. That's the main thing. And then obviously the next thing is the opportunity. Once they get that opportunity, they never let you down. They never let you down. They would never be rushed into it. It's only if they're ready. But they wear their heart on the sleeves. They will do anything, and as I say, they won't let the club down. I think the biggest thing is that with the recruitment in the 5 years I've been here, is having the right people in place. Like the chairman's been unbelievable. Obviously, getting in Paul Barber first of all, and then Paul's got in Dan. Dan's got in Graham. But then more importantly, underneath for the academy is John Morlin, and how the people he's got in has been fantastic. And he's sort of an unsung hero, I think, because what you get with John is he lets you get on with your job, but he knows he gets the right people in the first place, and it's not the coaches, the recruitment team he's got in. And now you're seeing the fruits of the labour. The people the recruitment team are bringing in, the players, is making our job a lot easier. Obviously, we then got to coach them, we got to get them ready, we've got to have a coaching programme and schedule to get them ready for the first team. But it all goes not just on the pitch, not the coaches, off of the pitch as well. And I think John and the recruitment team have been great in the players they've got in.
You mentioned there the sort of continuity there, that really seems to be in place, particularly when you look at Simon Russ going on and taking on the Stockport job, doing fantastically well there, but Shannon and Crofty literally slot into place. That, you know, how does that work with you in terms of the 23s and the 18s? And just a word on Simon, you must be delighted for him what he's doing there.
Yeah, Simon's one of my best pals, and we live in the same area. And when he got the job, I was buzzing for him. I mean, he'd come back the first 2 weekends when it weren't going so great, and he was questioning whether he made the right decision. But I said, things take time, and you're a great manager, I have that belief. And now you're seeing these 12 games unbeaten, flying high. So, and that's what you want to see. It's the same with the players. You want them to go from the 18s to the 23s to the first team. You want to see them fly. If it's not at this club, at another club, then it's the same for the coaches. You want to see them progress. And I mean, now Shannon and Crofty have been great. They've filled into his shoes really well. But it's the same for me. We got great relationships with the 23s, great relationships with the first team. And again, it's careful planning, and the recruitment of the academy and the first team staff is excellent.
And do you sort of breed off each other, feed off each other, learn from one another? That bubble, it must be fantastic to be around all these top coaches day to day. It must be fantastic for all of you to be picking up little bits from each other.
Yeah, and we've all got that same mentality. We all want to play, I wouldn't say football the right way. The idea of football is to win football matches, but I think we all like to play the right way. We demand 100% from all the players, but then our philosophy of playing is open, freedom to go express yourself, and excitable football, really. And we've all got that same philosophy mentality.
And just on that identity, obviously, how does that help when you're coaching the 18s? It's Brighton have sort of created this identity. They're known for the brand of football they play. Does that make life easier?
It does. And I mean, when Billy and the gaffer watched the game against Leicester and Middlesbrough, they said that we play the same way the first team do. And that's not me or James Baxter going out and saying, right, we've got to do this to the first team. It just naturally happens. And the way we train is very similar. We do a lot of individual work. So it isn't all team orientated, especially 18s. They do a lot of individual stuff, but looking at what the first team do as well. So individual, the unit, the team training, and it all comes together at the end of the day. And the players probably don't even know, when we're doing the individual stuff, how detailed and relative to their position it is. They just get on with it, but it only helps them on match days. And which the idea of it is to make them first team footballers, and when they get to the gaffer, that not 100% ready, but they're ready, and there's something there they can work on.
And looking ahead to next season, what's the aim? What's the plan? The ambitions for the new season?
Well, the hard thing is, it's not a hard thing for me, but for the players, I know when you've had a successful season, I always remember Alex Ferguson saying it with his Man United players, and you read all their books, Keane, Neville, Beckham, that they wouldn't settle for that. And that's what I'm going to tell the boys. We've won the cup. We won it last week. I said to them Friday, brilliant, remembered it for the rest of your life, but you can't sit on your laurels. Now we've got to go again, and for us to be successful, we have to set targets even higher. So next year, we finished third this year, we've got to finish second or first. We've won the Premier League Cup, you've got to retain that. FA Youth Cup, we got fourth round this year, probably lost to the eventual winners in Aston Villa. Can we go further this year? And with the group of players we got, I've no doubt that we could do that. Another target for the players is, can we get more into 23s? And then beyond that, can you get in and around the first team? Can you get knocking on the gaffer's door saying, oh, look at him, can you get in there? So there's a lot more targets than just the under-18s fixtures. Can you do even better than that and go that one stage further?
And I guess that is the ultimate aim, that step up to the 23s, and then eventually that step to the first team.
100%. And I mean, if I look back at the season, like we were talking about games the other day, that there's probably 2 or 3 fixtures where the under-23s had 4 or 5 of our players, and the games that we actually lost in the league. Now, if I'd have had my strongest team, we could have got results out of them and probably could have won the league as well. But end of the day, that's not what my job is. My job isn't to win the league and win the Premier League Cup with our strongest players. I
guess you're more proud when they're playing for the 23s than playing for you.
Yeah, and getting talked about to maybe go train with the first, and that's what we want. That's what the players want as well. So it's always nice to have the results with the 18s, but the end goal is get them in that first team.